Hi everybody, welcome to Sandy Treasures. This is the very first video that I'm posting on YouTube for this channel. I have another channel, it's called Sandra's Art Studio. I'm not trying to plug it in or anything because basically it was a total failure. And what I did was I posted for 8 years. The other day, I think it was before yesterday, that I got the notification saying that today it was 8 years, so that was 3 days ago. And I didn't realize that at the time when I was posting on Sandra's Art Studio that I was doing everything so wrong. So it took me like a good 6 years because I thought, well, at the beginning when I was posting, I thought that it just took a little bit of time before I could get my videos to reach the people. And so maybe at the beginning I felt like, oh, maybe I didn't have enough discipline or whatever. But then after 6 years, I realized, I really have done something wrong here. And I started to study YouTube and I started to find out what is it that I needed to do, the do's and the don'ts on videos on YouTube, the editing, the channeling, like who's going to watch it, who's your audience. You need to put it in a category. Is it for educational purposes or is it for entertaining purposes? So all of those things, like at the beginning I did not know, and I would just post. And even at the very beginning, I would have somebody else post for me. And they were not like choosing the categories or anything. They were just uploading onto YouTube, making it public right away. And I didn't know what I was doing. So after about 6 years of posting on YouTube with that channel, I decided I'm going to study this and I'm going to make something out of it. And today, I'm 57 years old, and maybe you guys can, some of you ladies can identify with me. I've done a lot of things in my life. I've done, I did automotive airbrushing for like a good 10 years. I painted a lot of motorcycles. That was fun. I did portraits before that. I did oil portraits. I didn't stay as busy as I wanted to stay. So that's why I got into automotive airbrushing. And then later, I got out of automotive airbrushing because I was in Indiana. In Indiana, it snows, and most people want to give you their automotive or their motorcycle, the skins, we call it the skins, okay? They want to give you the parts in the middle of winter time. And to do, if you know anything about automotive airbrushing, to paint a motorcycle, it's better to have a temperature setting of like 60 degrees, okay? Because anything lower than that, the paint doesn't want to stick. So everybody was giving me their work in the middle of winter time, and I found that to be very challenging because I used to paint from the basement of my home, and I didn't have a great setup from the basement of my home. So I ended up getting, for a while there, I ended up getting into a body shop that had all the best bells and whistles, everything that you needed to keep it cozy and at the same time extract all the overspray, because that's another thing of automotive airbrushing. You have to have the overspray sucked out of the room, and you have to have heat in the middle of winter. So anyway, all of those things was just like, oh my God, this is too much, and I just did not have the money to go ahead and invest on the state of the art. I was not a big name or anything. I was just busy enough to make a living. So one of my husband's cousins recommended that I started tattooing. He thought I would make a really good tattoo artist, and he had a lot of tattoos himself. He was a funny character too, he was very amusing. So anyway, I started looking into it. That was like the furthest from my mind, to start doing tattoos. I don't have a lot I have one tattoo on my ankle, that's it. And that was once I started tattooing, because I would have never had a tattoo on my body unless I had started tattooing. So I looked into it and I thought, okay, I can handle this, because I happen to also have kind of like a strong stomach. I thought, oh, it's going to be a lot of blood or whatever. It's not really, but you have to have somewhat of a strong stomach. It turned out that the first time I ever tattooed on a human being, which it was my husband's brother-in-law. And I never calculated that it would take me the amount of energy and how nervous it made me, You know, tattooing made me so nervous. I did not expect that one to come on. I mean, I was shaking like a leaf. And I did a horrible job too. Later I fixed it, but I did a real bad job. And I was very amazed of how many people were willing to be a guinea pig if you were a decent artist. So at the beginning of tattooing, I had a lot of people line up for me to tattoo them for free, of course, because I am a decent artist. So that was funny. My husband was like, oh, I don't know about this. I think you're going to waste your time and your money and your effort, like all the other things you've done in your life. Yeah. Well, tattooing turned out to be pretty lucrative, and I do recommend it, you know, for people that are very artistic and they want to make a living with tattoos. You just got to be careful though. So I felt like the ambience or the energy, the industry in itself, it was a little bit on the heavy side. I'm talking about, you know, some of your clients could be like high and stuff like that. Eventually you'll get the clientele you want, you know, but there was a lot of that, a lot of drugs, you know. And I saw it on my coworkers too. I saw a lot of my coworkers getting high and having issues with drugs and alcohol. So if you end up getting into tattooing, I hope you have a strong head over your shoulders and you don't let yourself get persuaded by drugs and alcohol. So that's number one. Anyway, I was talking about my life, right? So let me get back onto track. So about 3.5 years ago, I finally gave up on tattooing after doing it for like 16.5 years. And I knew I was going to miss it, but I knew I wasn't going to miss it too. You know, there's that thing that you have to always be ready to tattoo whenever the customer is ready for you, whether you are in the mood or not. So what I did get out of tattooing, and it served me very well, was the fact that you start building this discipline, right? So you make an appointment, it's like rain or shine, you have to show up. Well, at least that was the way with me, you know, like I would always show up for my appointments, even if I was working on my day off, you know, I would always show up. I think in all my time of tattooing, I probably like forgot or missed this many appointments, which 16.5 years, that's, you know, I mean, very seldom. And I would be just dying if somebody said, oh, you missed this appointment, or where are you? No, that it happened very, very seldom, like about this many times. So usually that was probably the most important thing for me when it came to tattooing time. It was make sure you're ready for the customer and make sure the customer is comfortable as much as you can, and make sure everything is super, super tidy, because that's that kind of business. So finally I gave up on that 3.5 years ago, like I said, and I was doing a few art shows here and there, and one time a friend of mine came up to me and said, you know, there's this local restaurant that has an extra space because they have already like 3 bays and they took another bay, and they needed to have somebody occupy that space. They already had a gift shop, and I guess it didn't work out for them. And I thought, wow, you know, I have the opportunity to go in kind of easy at a gift shop that's already created. So I went ahead and signed up for that. And this was in downtown Jensen Beach, Florida. Maybe some of you guys remember me. But the problem with downtown Jensen Beach, I find it, okay, now for some people, downtown Jensen Beach works really good. I'm talking about Florida, right? But most of the people that are surrounding downtown Jensen Beach, the community is either visitors that don't have space in their luggage. I mean, I found all kinds of excuses why people would not buy from a gift shop. Or they were in a camper and they didn't have enough room on their walls for another something to hang. Or they were on a boat and of course, they didn't have any space at all for another gadget, you know. So all of these reasons, it really got to me. It got to me to where, thank God, I had like a contract. I had a contract that was for 10 months, but the owner of the restaurant, who I was subleasing from, asked me if I would let go, if I wanted to let go after 9 months, because we were quickly approaching that time. And I said, yeah, I think I'm done. So I let go of that gift shop. And in that gift shop, I do miss a lot of aspects of it, because in the gift shop, I would have an audience. You know, even if I wasn't selling all that much, I had an audience, and I felt good about having an audience. Um, and they would come in and they admire the work and make comments once in a while. I make a sale, and that was great. But I kind of thought that after, it was already a gift shop for 2 years. And then I came in and I did what I did for 9 months. And it really didn't work out for me. I thought, this is just going to drain me. And I have like a ball and chain where I have to be at all times. And plus there was, I hired a couple of friends to help me out with the gift shop. And one of them was, oh my goodness, what a mess. She was so not supportive whatsoever. She had an excuse every time she had to show up to take care of the gift shop. So all of those things made me think, I need to do something that I can handle on my own by myself. That I don't need to count on anybody else, that I can do it from home, because I actually am a homebody myself. So here I'm given a second shot to this YouTube channel. And I'm excited this time around because I think that I have more experience. I know what I'm doing. I feel like I know what I'm doing. And I gave you guys a little bit of my background. So now you know. Hopefully it's not another artist channel. So I gave you a little bit of a background because I want you guys to relate to me. I'm 57 years old and I've done a lot of things. I'm ready to have it my way this time, and hopefully this time around it will work. So just to show you guys a few of the things that I've done, also, just in case you guys are not familiar with my art, I want to show you. So this is an example of what I've done. And this is an example of what I've done. And so is this. And so is this. So I have a few styles there, as you can see. I enjoy tremendously doing this. And hopefully this time around, I'll get it right. Okay, I got my fingers crossed, and I will see you next time. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time. Bye.